Straight all day.
Now tuned in to the best audio experience that you could possibly give to your ears. So your ears should be thanking you right now, because this is the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves you to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together into one mindset, one method, one show, one philosophy, one book, one audio masterclass. You are listening to it right now. It is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is how to control your mind in the midst of turmoil. Now, I just told you in yesterday's masterclass that I was going to do a class on this specific topic very soon. So when I say very soon, that usually means it's already done. You just haven't heard about it yet. So today's topic, again, controlling your mind in the midst of turmoil, is a good time for this topic, following up exactly what we talked about in yesterday's masterclass. And I'm recording this. I record ahead of time. You probably know that when you're listening to me, you're not listening to me speaking directly in your ears live. It is recorded. But I'm recording this in what projects to be the early stages of a worldwide, I guess we can call this a pandemic. And we may be in the middle of it. Hopefully we're at the ending stages of it, but we may still be in the middle of it by the time that you hear this, which is good news, because even if we're in the middle of it, that means it's eventually going to calm down. We're going to start going to the descending action, right? Where it starts to go downhill, which is a good thing. We want this one to go downhill. While right now, many people, maybe you, are in a holding pattern, kind of trying to wait things out and trying to figure out what to do or what we're going to be able to do or how long it's going to take before we can do something. This masterclass here is about keeping your head on your shoulders and not losing your head, as they say, if and when things start getting abnormal in your life. And listen, you may already be there. So I apologize for this being after things got abnormal, but better late than never, as they say. And it makes the timing of this even more perfect. So since in life, forget about the corona situation or whatever may be going on in the world right now, there's always something going on. We can all agree to this. Even when there's not some pandemic that's affecting everybody, you personally, you will have situations in your life that only a few people will know about, but they're affecting you in a serious way. And there's something that you had to deal with, and it's not a hashtag on Twitter. It's not something everybody's talking about on the news. It's not on the front page of the local paper, but it is something that's affecting you directly. And there is some turmoil. There is some adversity that you got to deal with. And as the saying goes, you're always either dealing with a situation, you just finished dealing with one, or you're about to go deal with one. So there's always something that is going on. All that being said, this masterclass here is something that I suggest you save this, download, mark it, download to the device in the app, wherever you're listening to this, and make sure you keep this one handy, because this is one you're going to want to come back to over and over again. Every masterclass I put out is one you should be coming back to over and over again, because studies show just the way that we are as human beings. When you listen to something a second and third and fifth time and read things a second, third, and fifth time, you notice things, those subsequent listens, that you did not notice the first time through, simply because the human brain is not going to be able to process every single thing you're hearing for the first time through. You hear it the second time, you're like, oh, I didn't even notice that the first time. Or you watch a movie the second time, you notice things you didn't notice the second time. So make sure you keep this one around, not only for that purpose, but also because a year from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to be going through some kind of adversity, and you're going to be challenged to figure out, how do I maintain my presence of mind dealing with this situation? And then you're going to remember what I just told you in the last 2 minutes, and you're going to go re-listen to what you heard here today. That's why I'm telling you that. So without further ado, let's get into our points. And the topic, once again, how to control your mind in the midst of turmoil in your life. Point number one, intense realism. Intense realism is the chapter heading of the very first chapter of one of my favorite books, called The 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. And that book, if you have not read it, you should, but that book is about dealing with fear in your life. And sometimes in life, when we are dealing with turmoil, we feel a little bit of fear, because we're not quite sure maybe how things are going to turn out. Or maybe we have a pretty good idea of how things are going to turn out, but how things are going to turn out is something that we don't want. So we're a little bit fearful of that outcome that we may think is inevitable. Intense realism It's all about seeing situations for what they are, while at the same time not allowing our emotions to run wild and make those situations seem worse than they are. Now, if you listen closely, you note that this is the same first point that I was sharing. It is damn near is the exact same concept that I shared in the first point in yesterday's masterclass. But there's a reason why I'm giving you this one first. And yesterday I didn't give you intense realism. I'm giving you that here today. But what you need to train your mind to, think this way. This is what the situation is, nothing more and nothing less. Let me say it again. This is what the situation is, nothing more and nothing less. Don't make a big situation seem smaller than it is, because then it's going to grow into a giant and then you're not going to know what to deal with it, how to deal with it. And don't make a small situation seem bigger than it is, because then you start overreacting, overcompensating, overcorrecting for something that doesn't need that much of your energy, doesn't need that much of your resources. When circumstances flip on us, such as the situation we may be dealing with right now, or a situation in your life, a personal crisis you may be dealing with, regardless of what the rest of the world is dealing with, when situations flip, all right, we just didn't see it coming, but something happened, now we got to address it, and it gets in our way, it slows us down, it requires our attention when we would much rather be putting our attention on something else. What happens often is people's sense of reality, that tends to be one of the first things to go. We tend to lose our sense of what actually is, and the reason why this happens is because our emotions get involved. See, when a circumstance flips on us, that means something that we thought was normal now is not normal anymore, or something that we thought was going to go one way is not going that way anymore, or we thought everything was going smoothly and then all of a sudden things aren't smooth anymore. When that happens, our emotions get involved. We get maybe frustrated, maybe angry, we get anxious, we get worried, we get, insert your favorite emotion that you have here when things go different on you. And when our emotions get involved in things, we tend to lose our grasp on reality, because emotions make things bigger than they actually are. So when you're frustrated, you feel you make that situation that's causing frustration, you make it seem like it's more daunting than it actually is. When you're angry, you make that situation seem like it's the most important thing in the world, because that's where your anger is focused. When you're sad about something, whatever caused that sadness, it feels to you like that's the most sad thing that could ever occur in anybody's life. That's what happens when our emotions get involved. And there's nothing wrong with this, because we're human beings, we are emotional beings. But I want you to understand that since reality is one of the first things that go when circumstances flip on us, reality in this sense does not mean making things worse, which is how many people use the term. All right, a lot of people will say, well, be realistic. That means take your ambitions from a level 10 and lower them down to a level 6. That's not what I mean when I say intense realism. What I mean here is not emotionally adding on anything to what actually is. It means to just see it clearly as it is. And that requires you to be a little bit of personal detachment. Meaning you see that situation, but you kind of see, it's kind of like you step outside of yourself and you're looking at yourself in that situation as if you're not you. And that's a skill, ladies and gentlemen, that personal detachment, to develop that detachment, to be able to look at you objectively and see you for exactly who you are, see where you are, see what you're doing, see it as somebody who wasn't you. You know, the way that you can look at another person, you can be very objective about them. You can see clearly exactly what's going on. And you can almost, you have this clairvoyance when it comes to diagnosing what's going on with them and how they can fix their own problems. You know how you could do that with anyone other than yourself? What if you could do that for you? All right, that's what I mean when I talk about the personal detachment and having that intense realism. And one way that you can start to condition yourself to get closer to this ideal of personal detachment, and which will allow you to have a whole lot more control over your emotions, to manage your emotions, is meditation. A meditation practice you can do every day. So, and meditation is not some big deal, hard thing to do. All you gotta do is go to the app store, wherever you get your apps on your phone. I know you got a phone. And get either the Calm app or the Headspace app. Those are the two most popular apps for meditation, or whatever app you prefer. And let them walk you through meditation. And meditation does not require you to burn incense. I don't burn the incense. I think the smoke alarms would go off in my building if I did. I don't sit cross-legged or whatever they call that. I don't think I'm even capable of doing it. My legs are too long. My hips are too narrow. And I don't close my eyes, because I'll probably fall asleep. I don't do any of those things. I meditate with my eyes wide open. I meditate sometimes when I'm walking around. I meditate when I'm just standing outside on a balcony looking out at the daylight or anything. So meditation practice, anyway, the point that I'm bringing this up is some way that you can start conditioning yourself for that personal detachment. You got to turn your conscious mind, turn that conscious thinking off in order to get that personal detachment. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to control your mind in the midst of turmoil. Number 2, presence of mind. Definition of presence of mind is the ability to remain calm and take quick, sensible action. That's what presence of mind means. You need to develop this skill. In times of unrest, when things are unpredictable, such as your job, your business, your family, you personally, your personal health, your personal safety, in any times of unrest, what your job becomes, I'm not talking about your work job where they give you a check, I'm talking about your job as a human, at that point is to know what your desired outcome is and allow yourself mental flexibility to alter how you would go about achieving that aim. So when things are unpredictable, you know what you want to achieve, but because things are unpredictable, you probably can't achieve it in the predictable way or in the way that you thought you were or in the way that you always do or the way that it's always been done around here. You might not be able to do that and you're not quite sure if you will because things are unpredictable. You can't predict it. You won't know till you get there. So what you need to do at that point in having presence of mind is allow yourself the mental flexibility to say, you know what, self, I'm going to allow myself some options as far as doing this thing differently to achieve the exact same outcome, even though I have no idea how I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to just allow myself to be mentally flexible enough that if my normal way isn't available, I'll go a different way and I'll be all right with that. And I won't waste any time in deliberation because it's obvious that the normal way isn't there anymore. It's kind of like if you were in a burning building and you go reach for the door the way that you normally get out the building, and the door is hot because there's fire on the other side of the door. You realize, okay, I can't get out that way. Now, you're not going to sit around and take 30 minutes trying to figure it out, are you? You're going to figure out, okay, what's my other way out of this building because otherwise I'm going to die. Otherwise, I'm going to get burnt up in this building. You don't have time to think about it. That sense of urgency, that mental flexibility, I'm offering that you develop this voluntarily through this skill called presence of mind. Given that you don't know exactly what lies ahead, you got to allow yourself the mental flexibility to handle the situation as it comes. Handle the situation as it is. Whatever it ends up being, you'll figure out a way to handle it. All right. Being in the moment. And this is another skill that you develop through meditation. Meditation puts you in the moment because it turns off your conscious thoughts about what happened yesterday and what might happen tomorrow or what's happening on the other side of town that you're not at. Meditation puts you in the present, allows you to be present where you are. And that's what presence of mind means, which means as the moment changes, you change. So in the present moment, if it's nice and bright and sunny outside, maybe you don't need that light jacket on. But if it starts raining, you might want to grab an umbrella. That's presence of mind. And we have it when it comes to tangible things and practical things such as that. But when it comes to situations changing in our lives and things not being normal, quote unquote, normal anymore, oftentimes we keep ourselves stuck in how it used to be, even though how it used to be no longer exists. So that's what presence of mind means, is seeing things as they are, and as they change in a moment, you changing with them. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to control your mind when in the midst of turmoil. Number 3, resolve within yourself that no matter what happens, you will be resourceful and you will find a way to handle what has happened, find a way to work within what has happened, or even better, you'll find a way to make it work in your favor. Let me say that one again. I want to make sure you heard all 3 things. Resolve within yourself. That means you're going to make a decision in your own mind that no matter what happens, you don't even know what's going to happen, but no matter what happens, as long as you're alive, you will be resourceful and you will do one of 3 things, or maybe all 3. You will find a way to handle it. You will find a way to work within the changes, or you'll make those changes work in your favor. And that you could actually do all 3 at the same time. If you do the third one, then you're doing the second and the first one. Now, you may think this to be mere semantics, that I'm just giving you some wordplay right here to fool you, but no, that's not what I'm doing. You should know better. There's a lot more to it than that. When you've decided that you will find your way, no matter what occurs, no matter what gets thrown in front of you, no matter who is in your way, no matter what changes, no matter how things go, but you've decided that you're going to find a way or make a way or you're going to create a way, no matter what happens. When you do that, you know what happens? That's usually exactly what happens. That's usually how it goes. When you decide that something's going to go a certain way and you don't give yourself any other options, it usually goes that way. Look at your own life and don't take my word for it. All right. This is not just some philosophy that I want you to accept. Look at your own life and tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me about a time in your life when you decided. The word decision comes from the root of the word decision comes from incision. You know what incision means? It means to cut off. When you make a decision, you are cutting off any other option. You're saying this is what it's going to be. And if you can hear my voice right now, that means you're alive, which means you have probably made at least one definite decision at some point in your life where you said this is definitely happening. You might not have known how it was going to happen, when, where, and it might have, this current circumstance might have looked like, all right, there's no way this is going to happen. But you said it's going to happen. You decided that it was going to happen. You cut off any other option. Did it happen? Exactly. So when you decide that you will figure it out, that you will make a way no matter what is going on, no matter how much turmoil and adversity you're dealing with right now, you will figure it out. It's just the way that life works. I mean, it's a magic formula for achievement. Isn't that crazy? This magic formula for achievement, just make a decision that you're going to achieve something, make a decision that something's going to happen, and it happens. Now, here's a challenge that you might be thinking, okay, well, why not just make a decision about every single thing that I do today? I'm going to eat these cheese and crackers. I'm going to catch the bus on time. I'm going to make sure that I do 50 push-ups. Now, you don't want to go spreading out this decision energy to every little thing that you do. You need to have one definite chief decision that you made, called a definiteness of purpose. It's one of the 17 principles of achievement. And if you did not hear 17 principles of personal achievement that I laid out on this masterclass, here we go again. Masterclass is number 183 and 184, where I laid out Napoleon Hill's 17 principles of personal achievement. I split it up into two parts because there are 17 of them. That's 183 and 184. Those are two masterclasses that if you are a game group member and you listen to me right now, that means you can get those. Again, 183, 184. Go listen to those more than once until you know all 17 without looking. Resolve that you're going to make it happen no matter what's happening. If you're in a position, especially of having people dependent on you, such as your employees, business partners, your children, some family members, maybe you have an audience, maybe you have fans, and they're looking at you as the person who might know what the hell is going on when they don't know what the hell is going on. All right, they need you to be the person who is under control, the person who is calm, the person who is collected, the person who is relaxed when everybody else is unsure and worried and emotionally unstable. All right, you need to own that responsibility because they need you to do that. Now, you might not feel like having that responsibility, but if you took the position of having kids or owning a business or having people work for you, or you just have, what's the word I'm looking for? You have shown leadership capabilities. You've been the example of a leader, and people have started to look to you as a leader, even if you weren't trying to be a leader. That's a responsibility that you own now. Own that responsibility. Make the decision that you're going to figure it out, even if you're not sure what to do. Because that'll allow everybody else to calm down. Everybody else will relax. And then the whole situation will calm down. When everybody's calm and everybody can follow your energy that you have resolved that you're going to figure this out, then you know what? Everyone's heads together will figure things out. That's just the way that it works in life. I mean, it may seem crazy to you. It may seem normal because you've done it before. And it may seem crazy if you haven't done it before, but try it and tell me that I'm wrong. Let's recap today's class, which is how to control your mind in the midst of turmoil in life. It's a perfect time for this topic because though we're in a worldwide pandemic, all of us at some point have something going on. All of us have something going on every single day. There's something that we got to deal with our family, with our business, with our personal health, with our finances, where there's something going on that we don't even know we're going to have to deal with, but we're going to find out really soon we got to deal with it. Or we just finished dealing with something, or we're in the middle of dealing with something. We always have something going on, even when it's not a shared something. We all individually have something. So this masterclass right here, as I said, save it, download it, bookmark it, do something that you remember where this is so that you can come back to it over and over again, because I guarantee you will need to refer to everything I'm going to talk about here today more than once moving forward in your life. But that's why I'm giving it to you, to make sure that you have it. So while many people may right now be in a holding pattern, this one is about keeping your head on your shoulders if and when things start to get abnormal in your life, and things may already be abnormal, which means it's perfect timing for you. Point number one, intense realism. That means seeing situations for what they are while at the same time not allowing your emotions to run wild and make the situation worse than it is. See it for what it is nothing more and nothing less. Reality is the first thing that people lose when their emotions get involved. They stop thinking about what actually is and they allow their emotions to tell them what it is. And your emotions don't always tell you the truth. All right? Your emotions tend to embellish things. All right? They make whatever you're focused on way bigger than it needs to be. Your intense realism will slow that tendency down. Point number 2, presence of mind. The definition is the ability to remain calm and take quick, sensible action. In times of unrest, when things are unpredictable, your job is to know your desired outcome and give yourself the mental flexibility to alter the way you go about achieving the outcome, because the outcome is the most important thing. It's not how you get the outcome, it's that you got the outcome. Be in the moment, which means as the moment changes, you change. Meditation will help you with both of these first 2 points. And the third one, resolve within yourself. Third point, resolve within yourself that no matter what happens, you will be resourceful and you will find a way to either handle it, work within it, or make it work in your favor, or all three. You may think this to be mere semantics, but it's a lot more than that, because when you make a decision, you cut off any other possible option to achieve a certain outcome or to get to a certain point. Usually that's exactly what happens. And since you're alive, you have made a decision before and you did I guarantee you that you achieved it because you made the decision and you cut off any other option. You could do that any time in your life, but what you need to do is make one key decision, one definite chief aim for your life, and everything else should be subservient to that. And if you're in a position of having people dependent on you, employees, business partners, children, family, an audience, fans, customers, they need you to be the one who is under control while everybody else is unsure, worried, emotionally unstable. They're thinking the sky is falling. You have to own the responsibility of being the person that they can all look to and they can take a deep breath. They can calm down because they see that you're calm. When you're the leader, they're following your energy. Work on your game. Dre all day.